before fighting games were about esports, netcode, or frame data. There was Tekken 2. Released in 1995, this sequel to Namco's original 3D fighter quietly laid the foundation for something deeper, something darker. A fighting game that wasn't just about a tournament, it was about revenge. An inner struggle coupled with moral ambiguity. In this video, we'll explore what makes Tekken 2 such a powerful and enduring entry, not just as a game, but as a work of art. The tone of this classic is so unique in a genre where story usually takes a back seat. And yet, Tekken 2 tells its story masterfully, using all the tools at its disposal.
Round 1, fight!
A soundtrack that evokes emotion and speaks for the characters it represents. Immersive stages that still resonate with us decades later. And cutscenes that, despite their age, still radiate a haunting charm. This is Tekken 2, the dark elegance of a fighting game classic. To understand Tekken 2, you have to take a look at where it came from. The original Tekken was a newcomer to the 3D fighting genre. The top dog in the 3D space during that period was Sega's Virtua Fighter. And while Tekken 1 differentiated itself from Virtua Fighter with its unique and intuitive control scheme with each button corresponding to a limb, it couldn't escape the label of being a Virtua Fighter clone. Enter Tekken 2. Now, while most fighters in the era leaned into spectacle or cartoonish excess, Tekken 2 did something different. It slowed things down. Now, not in gameplay, but in tone. It gave us lore, tragedy, and characters with something more to fight for than just a tournament title. And this direction was apparent as soon as you loaded the game. Tekken 2 oozes atmosphere. From the moment the intro sequence begins, the game draws you in. The song playing in the background, titled Black Winter Night Sky, evokes an 80s action movie tone, something out of Bloodsport. Each shot feels like a training montage, bonding you to the characters and their battles. Michelle fights to avenge her kidnapped mother. King spirals into alcoholism after failing to support his orphanage. These weren't just plot points, they were stories meant to make you feel. And it wasn't just done for shock value, but to make you empathize with each character. Another thing that always struck me was how isolating Tekken 2 feels. No crowds, just you and your opponent, alone in a stage that reflects their soul. The Arizona desert, eternal darkness, King's Cathedral, each one told you a story. King's stage, set in a church sanctuary, tells the story of a man redeemed by faith, fighting to give hope to the orphans he saved. Kazuya's stage, drenched in pitch-black darkness with emotionless passion playing in the background, represents a man with everything, but with nothing at the same time. And then there's Jun's stage, serene, pure, a rare breath of peace in a game so full of inner turmoil. It contrasts Kazuya perfectly. She is the light to his dark, the embodiment of the good he's trying to bury.
Round 1, fight!
And of course, the beach, the home of Roger and Alex. A moment of comic relief, yes, but even the absurd had weight. They were transgenic creations of the Mishima Zaibatsu, yes, but they packed a punch. Hey, and Harada, if you're listening, we still want Roger.
You win!
Now, these weren't just stages, they were extensions of the characters' inner lives. Tekken 2 felt like it had a soul. Tekken 2 builds off a story of generational trauma. At its core is a son thrown off a cliff by his father, and that same son, now older, throwing his father off the very same cliff, continuing the cycle of violence. Kazuya Mishima has returned, but he's not just bitter, he's consumed. Assassination, smuggling, genetic experimentation. He's become more ruthless than the man who raised him. But Tekken 2 isn't as clear-cut about good versus evil, it's about moral decay. Kazuya isn't just evil, he's consumed by something else. Devil. But one thing is clear, he's fighting not just the world, but himself. And Heihachi, now the de facto protagonist, is no hero either. But maybe, just maybe, he's better than Kazuya. In a time when media began embracing anti-heroes, Tekken 2 was already there.
You win!
Angel represents the last flicker of Kazuya's humanity and the good in him. Jun Kazuma is drawn to that flicker, trying to reach the man within the monster. But in the end, his refusal to change seals his fate. These endings, they weren't grand victories. They were mysterious, tragic, often unsettling. Jun's ending, for instance, is less of a conclusion and more of a plea, a quiet wish for peace in a world scarred by pain. Now, what made Tekken 2's roster special wasn't just their moves, it was their presence. King wasn't just a wrestler, he was a symbol of mentorship and redemption. And Jun Kazuma, perhaps the moral heart of the game, offered an antidote to all of the rage around her. Even Yoshimitsu, the ninja bandit with a rotating sword, had more nuance than he let on. And then there's Armor King, once King's rival, now his concerned friend. After King spirals into alcoholism following the loss of an orphan, Armor King pulls him up, not with pity, but with a challenge to enter the second tournament. In his ending, we see Armor King stumbling, coughing blood, an enlarged heart x-rayed across the screen. But when he hears the crowd, he rises to fight anyway. Now, for fans of pro wrestling, this hits hard, knowing how many wrestlers passed far too young due to the wear and tear of the wrestling business and the drug and steroid abuse that was rampant in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Tekken 2 made you feel all of this, through character, not just the cutscenes themselves. These fighters, they weren't just avatars. They were people. They had scars, visible and invisible. Tekken 2 left more than a mark. It left a legacy. It proved that fighting games could tell stories worth caring about. That gameplay could coexist with emotion. Because of Tekken 2, Jin Kazuma would later carry the series forward. Because of Tekken 2, a grounded, more mature story like Tekken 4 could even exist. And now, while later entries move towards spectacle, Tekken 2 remains a symbol of what happens when a fighting game dares to feel. The solemn music, the tortured family saga, the silence between the punches. It's a game about strength, but also about struggle. It's about what we fight for and what we lose in the process. Sure, there are flashier Tekken games, more balanced ones, but few match the emotional resonance of Tekken 2. It was a turning point not just for the franchise, but for what fighting games could be. A game about pain, about power, about the quiet moments between the blows. It may be from 1995, but its heart still beats in every match we play today. Thanks for watching this retrospective. If Tekken 2 meant something to you, if you remember picking a fighter not just because of the moves, but because of the story, drop a comment below. Let's talk about the legacy of this timeless classic. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned. This is just round one.